Yeah, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Nick, and in today's video we're going to be showing you guys how to make a game in HTML with ChatGPT. My game is going to be Blackjack, so I'm going to show you guys how to make something similar to Blackjack. Okay, this took me roughly 30 minutes ish, maybe even 45 minutes, and this is the result I got. Clap your hands, I did all of the work. So let's get into it. So first off, what game do you want to make? Tell it that. I said I wanted to create a blackjack game in the browser. Help me do it. So it proceeded to spit all this code out, but what I realized from the last video that I made, if you guys haven't watched that one, go check it out. We essentially make a website using ChatGPT. The first thing I realized that I should probably do off rip is get a file structure going, because if we don't have that going later on down the line, it's just going to be a hassle when we're 9 questions deep and now we got to change everything. So go ahead and ask it, what's the file structure and what should it be? Go ahead and mimic that. For me, it kind of looks something like this. It's going to be a lot different for you, or it was very similar to you depending on what you got going on. So mimic it, do that first. Once you are here, now we are going to just simply import the code where it needs to go. So we have the index, which is essentially the main splash page, what we're looking at here. You're going to put anything that needs to go in the index.html code. That's going to go into the index.html. CSS needs to go in the CSS. JS needs to go in JS. It's very simple, very intuitive. One of the first things that I saw was wrong was that ChatGPT wanted me to put an image for every single possible card in Blackjack. So literally from all of aces all through the numbers. Example, I'm not doing all that. So can we simplify that with just HTML code? Let's ask ChatGPT to do that. One of my biggest issues in this little project I had was that putting the JS code in between different lines of code was always a problem for me. Like, I had to put it in a very specific spot for it to work the right way. If it wasn't in the right spot, it would either remove other things or just wouldn't work entirely. So it's very important to ask when you need to ask. Anyways, right here, I just gave it all of my JS code and said, hey, the code for your cards that you're giving to me is not working. What am I doing wrong? And it actually breaks it down so good and tells you, hey, this is where the problem was. This is what you need to do from here on out. And after reading and modifying code, boom, a refresh gives us blackjack cards without me putting any photos in. So that not only is a big time saver, but it's just better when it's in the code anyway, so you don't have to mess with images all day. So then I had to tell it was good, and it did the right code, but then I wanted to have it to be a little more advanced. I wanted the feel of the UI to have an actual table, right? Like, you don't want to be staring at cards all day. You want to at least to have a little table just to be a little more interactive. So let's ask it to do that. And after plugging in some of the code, boom, we have a blackjack table. Super nice. It even has a little divider so that you can tell, hey, the top is the dealer and the bottom is you. Next, I wanted to take a screenshot and show it what it has done so far and ask for any improvements, because already this is kind of good and I kind of need some more UI elements. So let's see this out. Okay, it gave me a lot of different random code. Let's see what we can start doing. Number 1, rounded cards with shadows. This gives it a little bit more depth and it makes it look a little bit more real. Second one is better button design. We have very stale, very plastic looking buttons, so we're gonna make the buttons look a little bit better. Now, we want to tell who's winning a lot easier. So it also said, let's highlight the winning hand so that you can tell very vividly who won. Was it you or was it the dealer? After swapping all of the code, this is what we're dealing with. This looks a lot better. We have a little bit more animations on the buttons. We also have the rounded card corners, and the only thing that we're missing is the winning glowing. And let's see what I did wrong here, because I didn't put the code exactly where it should have gone, and this took me an additional like 5 minutes just to get this to work. So I essentially put it in a completely different area, and I also didn't update the CS code. So after doing that, we got a winning card. Let's continue to focus on the UI changes. I didn't like that the scoreboard was on top of the blackjack table because it looked very plain and you had to keep looking up and also looking down. It was just really confusing. I wanted it to be in a centralized location so that your eyes can just stay there and not have to keep looking up and down at a blackjack. So the goal is to create a scoreboard on the left side. After asking ChatGPT to do that, it did it, but I didn't realize at the time that it actually wasn't counting score. The top numbers were still counting score, but the left panel was not. So I definitely needed to fix that, but I didn't notice at the time, and I wanted to focus on currency because that's how blackjack is. The goal is to either double or lose your money. And after 10 minutes, we finally got the balance to start working, and it even was counting the bets correctly and doing the math correctly. Now, you guys are probably wondering, since this is a local file, how does restarting work when you're out of money? Well, once you're out of money, it tells you that you're out of money, and then you need to restart your browser or refresh your page. And that just kind of gives you your money back. Next was going to be the issue of the scoreboard still not counting. I eventually asked it some questions and tried to see if I could get the scoreboard to start counting again. Eventually I got it to start counting, but I couldn't remove the top code. I've tried doing the HTML and swapping out the CS code and even the JavaScript code, and it didn't really matter because it still was there, but it eventually stopped counting and moved over to the left. So I just kind of left it up there. It just shows zeros, and yeah, so essentially we kind of have a full functioning blackjack game. It shows cards, it highlights the cards, it highlights the winners, it shows bets, you have currency, you can lose completely, and we have a full functioning blackjack game if you wanted to play this for yourself. And that's kind of it, guys. If you guys have any ideas for another video, let me know. I know this is a more simplistic one, but it also shows just how much you can do with AI instead of just cheating on tests. So I think it's kind of cool. Let's go ahead and wrap up the video here. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.